Well, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you. Before I begin, I want everyone to know that this is my real British accent. I'm not just putting this on to sound very spiritual this evening. This is me. But the upside is, if none of you like anything I'm about to say, at least I'm going to sound very convincing. Yeah, I brought my British humor with me, so forgive me, and I hope you'll tolerate that. Thank you so much for the very warm welcome, and thank you all for joining us this evening. A very warm welcome to each and every one of you. Our theme for discussion today is our most important relationship. But I'd like to hear from all of you. I'd like to just flip it around as a question and invite all of you to think, what is my most important relationship? What is your most important relationship?
With myself, with ourselves.
That's a good start. With ourselves, I mean, how much more important could it become? But let me ask you, what aspect of yourself are you thinking about when you think about your relationship? Is it the body? Is it the emotions? You might just have to unpack that a little. Come back to me if you've thought about that a little more. Anyone else? Welcome. We're just exploring a question. What is the most important relationship that we have? Well, I knew someone would say that. That's not because that's what I wanted to hear, right?
Because I actually think that, and because of all the relationships I've had, that one takes the prize.
Well, I'm glad you've had that experience. But guess what I'm about to say? There is a relationship, and forgive me, there is a relationship that is even more important than your relationship with Krishna. Forgive me.
Is it with your mind?
Ooh. You're unpacking it. With your mind? Okay.
With other devotees.
With other devotees. Very good.
With your own intuition.
Oh, we're going a little deeper with that, with your own intuition. Why would you say that?
Because I feel like that's the best guide that you have is your intuition, and you should trust yourself as well as the intuition and just have self-love.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd say the word trust, because intuition is something that we learn to trust. You know, we get an intuition, this feels right. Not quite sure about this situation. We feel something. We call it a gut feeling, don't we? And that's an important relationship to have.
The divine spirit in us.
You mean Krishna?
We have,
You're just looking at different ways of keeping Krishna in the middle.
we have the Atma, and we have the super.
The super.
Well, there you go, the super soul. Yeah.
I think that our relationship with each other, with other beings, non-human animals and human animals.
That's very noble and kind to feel that we have a relationship with everyone, that interconnectedness that we have. If only if everyone in the world thought that we were interconnected, we would be in a better place. I think what everybody has shared are all important expressions of an important relationship that we all have with the world, with every being in the world, with devotees, with God, with Krishna, with ourselves, and so on. But there is an underlying relationship, the quality of which determines the quality of all of these relationships that we've all shared. Okay, this is a drum roll moment. I'm about to reveal the most important relationship that we have is with our thoughts. You already knew that, right? I knew that all the time. And you got close to it. Because the thoughts are the voice of our mind. And it's the quality of thoughts that we hold, it's the quality of thoughts that we cultivate, that we grow, that determines the quality of relationship we have with ourselves, the quality of relationship we have with all beings, the quality of relationship we have with Krishna, with devotees, other spiritually like-minded people, the quality of relationship we have with anyone is going to be determined by the quality of thoughts that we cultivate. And so therefore, that's the most important relationship. Any reflections on that drum roll moment? Yeah.
I think that's very very well said and very important, because our thoughts determine our actions and also our words. They're all fueled by our thoughts, so we have to keep a straight, direct connection between our thoughts, what we say, and how we act.
Yeah, very good point. I mean, think about it. If our thoughts are aggressive, what's happening in the relationship? If our thoughts are full of empathy and compassion, what's happening in the relationship? If our thoughts are hopeful and aspirational, what's happening in the relationship? So the quality that we cultivate is directly proportionate to the quality of experience we get and can give in any one of those relationships. And we all have relationships. You know, some relationships, yours is a little more kind of outreach. You know, it's a bit vague, it's a bit abstract, because to think about me having a relationship with every being and every person and every animal and so on, you know, how do I grow that? So it's a feeling, and that's a good feeling. When we bring it closer to home, I have a relationship with family, I have a relationship with friends, I have a relationship with colleagues, I have a relationship with spiritual practitioners, and so on. We grow our community, and we have relationships at all different levels. And we all want to experience something very fulfilling and flourishing in those relationships. And sometimes we think it's about doing this or doing that, but actually it begins with, what are the thoughts that I'm actually cultivating?
Very well said.
Thank you.
Thoughts turn into actions. Is it possible to control your thoughts?
Oh, yes.
Sometimes, we get thoughts, and I don't ask the thoughts to come. I feel like they just, they just kind of come. Is it possible to control that?
Yeah, it is possible. Let's try this. Let's try this before I come back onto controlling. I'd like everyone to think, what kind of thoughts are mostly going on within our mind? What's that voice that's going on? What's the quality of thoughts that are usually going on for us? Are they hopeful? Are they helpful? Or are they heavy and lazy thoughts? So I'd like you to just think, for most of your time, what kind of thoughts do you experience? Do you experience a mixture of them? Sometimes helpful thoughts, sometimes heavy, lazy thoughts, sometimes hopeful thoughts. I'd like you to just think, what's the quality of my thoughts usually? And then I'd like you to share. I'd just like you to find someone next to you and just share with each other where you think the quality of your thoughts usually sits. and what are you doing about them? And that'll come back to your question of control. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, take a few minutes, think about where do my thoughts usually sit? What's the quality of them? How would I describe the quality of my thoughts? And then I'd like you to just connect with someone, either on your left or right, and just share.
Feel so hopelessly
Not now. I think about right, so I'm going every day. Usually when I'm sleeping or resting up, I have some anxiety because of some of the thoughts not so when they actually go through the process of checking my drama, really, really doing that. And then in the end, I don't understand why I was feeling that before. So every day I go through the same process. Yeah, because I get into anxiety because of things happening in my life. Yeah, it's always things.
whatever comes.
Usually later in the day after I jump up and I maybe take some cold shower, I feel really good. But it's when I'm really tired. I have to go through the process. I think, well, it shows that I would just start drinking. Yeah. Because I like to,
Okay. I'm just going to get us to pause. I can hear a lot of dynamic sharing going on, and a part of me feels I don't want to interrupt that. But just to get a sense of what you're sharing, it'd be nice to just open that up a little. Anyone like to start us off with hearing the quality of thoughts?
I'm hearing from my wonderful partners that and I concur with this, that we feel that sometimes we're imprisoned by past memories and past experiences that kind of not allow us to be what we want to be today.
Mm. Did you want to elaborate further on that?
Myself going back to the past, reliving childhood in the mind.
Yeah.
And then it's like a going back and forth, going back to the past and then coming forward in the present and seeing how these things have played a role in getting to where one is now.
Yeah.
Like going over all those things that happened in the past and then coming back to present. And then I'm always trying to remember Krishna, remembering Krishna, using chanting the mantra to be in the present.
Yeah, I think it's a challenge that most people have. We have experiences and we go back to them, But I think the word imprison was the right word. When we know that if we keep going back to the past, which is not the present, it was an experience. It may have been good. It may not have been so good. It may have been trauma. It may have been uplifting. Nonetheless, it's still in the past. And so therefore it keeps us in the past. And that is not progressive. And so therefore we have to remind ourselves that if I'm in the past, then I'm certainly not experiencing my present moment, and therefore I'm missing something. And I'm certainly not working progressively. You see, when we think about thoughts that lead to certain emotions, most people are either in the past, and therefore they're lamenting, or they're in the future, and they're fearful. You know, when we think of a future that hasn't manifested yet, will this happen? Will that happen? Will he say this? Will he do that? Will I be okay? Will I not be okay? Will I get this, get that? It hasn't even happened. And so therefore the decisions we need to make can't be made in the past. That's gone. Can't be made in the future because that hasn't arrived yet. It can only be made here and now, in this very moment. But if we're not in that moment, we actually do not end up making those decisions. So we almost have to move from the past to live in this moment so I can make decisions for now. Who's heard of Mark Twain? You've heard of Mark Twain? So he's famous for saying fancy quotes. So I'm going to give you, no talk is complete without a Mark Twain quote. So here it is. Mark Twain said, when we accelerate our thoughts and invest our emotions into the future, it's like paying interest on a loan that you haven't yet taken. So if I give you a loan, would you like a loan? No? Good. Don't take a loan. So if I give you a loan of £10,000, but I'm going to give it to you October 2026, okay? But I want you to pay interest on it right now. The interest payments start right now. Would you agree? Why would you agree to that? Yet we do it with our thoughts, we do it with our emotions, we start paying interest on something that hasn't even manifested yet. And we invest that energy in it. So imprison is the right word. We don't want to have these thoughts imprison us. Anyone else, whatever quality of thoughts?
Like they were saying, to add on, I myself struggled with negative thinking patterns and just thinking in the past and staying stuck in the past. But I've come to learn that, these past moments were nothing but just moments. So you have to also look at the bad and be like, it seems bad in the moment, but you don't know how it positively affects you in the future, as I was telling him. So I learned to just take the bad and put it with the good, because you don't know how this moment that seems bad now, it may be for the better in the future.
The key word I like you using is the word learn. What am I learning from each experience that I carry with me? I don't need to carry the experience, I carry the learning. So therefore, I don't repeat the experience.
It's like you break the cycle in a way.
Right.
Negative thinking patterns.
Yeah. What do I learn from this? What do I leave behind? What do I need to take with me that's going to have a positive impact on the person that I want to be?
Exactly.
Yeah, good. Very good.
Also, he had said that his thinking patterns that he's, not to say struggles, but he has thinking patterns of judging. And I had told him that me myself, I believe everyone judges somebody to an extent, but I judge not based off appearance, but based off of interaction and experience that you show me. So in learning, you just learn to not be so judgmental by just appearance or just what you see or what you hear. I judge based off of what you show me and how you make me feel and the experience you give to me.
The one way to kind of put aside judgment is to create connection. And when we create connection, then we actually see each other for who we really are. And if without connection, we just kind of, make an assumption, and we have to be ready to challenge the assumptions we make about each other. And that's, the world needs that a lot right now. Let's put aside judgment and relying on assumption, and try to get to the core of who each one of us actually are. And you can see the quality of thoughts is going to impact. If my thoughts are judgmental, I'm going to judge.
Exactly. I try to stay very open-minded.
Yeah.
Just anything I do, just in life in general, and that has very much helped me just to excel in my mind as well.
Good. Thank you.
That's interesting, because on that, it wasn't the first thing I was gonna say, but I agree. Like, because I talked to someone recently, and they were like, I was like, oh, I don't judge, and they were like, everyone judges, and I'm like, but for what? Like, if you're coming into a situation, if you don't have any assumptions of anything, you don't expect anything, what is there to judge? But then in certain situations, you might have to judge based on some experience, maybe for protection's sake, or for if you just, I won't judge this person walking around with a bat, that might not be so,
Yeah, run.
smart. Like, no judgment.
It's kind of like analytical judgment.
No, of course, but there's some indiscrepancies there at times too. But the other thing I was gonna mention, you were talking about, like, sometimes we think so far into the future, and that makes us fearful, or a lot of times, anxious, or because you want something to happen or you don't want something to happen. And with most things, I come to kind of be detached from expecting. It can be hard if it's something that you really seem to want or something, but most of the time it's easy for me, it helps me to say, oh, I don't expect a result, like, I don't, whatever I think I want, I won't expect, because that leads to disappointment too if it doesn't happen, or you criticize yourself or others, or it's this person's to blame, and that creates more negative thought patterns too.
Yeah.
Shame, or you're not good enough, or nothing works out for you, and then it just all that stuff.
Yeah. And these are all voices that go on in the mind. And you make a very interesting point, which could become the subject of another talk, which is the art of work. We can all set goals, and that goal is somewhere in the future, and that goal has a result. But the Bhakti tradition teaches that rather than focus on the result, we focus on the process of the work. We focus on actually fulfilling the responsibility of the work, because that result is not in my hands, but the process is in my hands.
And that goes to what you're saying, like being present in a way, like if you were just present with the process, then you're not there or there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And good case scenario, I'll get to the goal. Worst case scenario, I'll learn something.
Yeah,
nothing is negative. The process is not bad in itself.
Exactly. We focus on
learning.
Yeah. Let me just bring this up and summarize. Again, if I turn to a text called the Bhagavad Gita that some of you may have heard of, which is the key Bhakti tradition text on yoga, it teaches a concept of describing the quality of nature. And there are 3 levels of different progression of quality and characteristic of nature. Our body, our mind are also part of nature, and so therefore they experience any one or a combination of these 3 characteristics. So if you think about the quality of thoughts can be lazy, inert, where we're not really even bothered about thinking of our own well-being or the well-being of others. So that's kind of a lower end of the quality of thoughts that people can have. Midway we're kind of thinking very selfishly, what I want to do, what I want to achieve, my own creativity, my own work. And I may not consider the impact of that on others because it's just about me. And then you can have even higher quality thoughts of good intention, where I feel I want to be a happy person, I want to be a kind person, I want to think about very carefully the actions I undertake because I want to be careful of the consequence those actions will have on other people. I'm very responsible from that point of view. So these are three basic levels of quality of thoughts that we can cultivate: the inert, the selfish, and then the good intention ones. But what we further learn in the text is, why am I positioning thoughts as the most important relationship? Because as you said, sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Valeria.
Valeria, thank you. As you said, your thoughts are going to become action. And as soon as the thought becomes action, you become used to doing something. And if that like, we are not our thoughts. Deep within us is our real self, which is higher than the thoughts, higher than the body. And if we learn to act and understand that true spiritual essence that we are, and connect with a superior spiritual essence, and we usually do that through mantra. So when the whole purpose of the Bhakti tradition in calling out mantra is to create this higher frequency of thoughts that are above the nature of the environment in which we live. And this sound, this spiritual sound, clears and clarifies. It clears and clarifies the thoughts that are of these lower qualities. And by cultivating this regularly, we'll be able to kind of feel that control. Now, just by chanting mantra, it doesn't mean that we're not going to get a negative thought or we're not going to have thoughts that are well-intentioned. We are. But by connecting as a regular practice with spiritual sound, we're able to cultivate this space of clearing and clarifying these thoughts much more easily. And so then when we come back to the present moment, what are the thoughts that I want to cultivate? Because these quality of these thoughts is going to impact the person I become. And the person I become is going to impact the quality of relationships that I want to have with people, with friends, with family, with colleagues, and with Krishna. So I'm just going to pause here. Thank you all so much for your valuable contribution to today's conversation. Maybe we can continue the conversation a little later on. Is that okay to pause now? Great. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
We have time for a little bit of questions.
Sure. Well, if there are any reflections, any questions,
I don't know if you know, but what kind of quality of thoughts would one have in, practicing the mantra, like elevated thoughts, connecting more to that source, that self, and connecting with a higher. Would you have an example, or was that just something that we would experience? How would you be able to know or tell or express that? Like, what would that look like? I guess. How to ask that?
it would look very peaceful.
Okay.
When you see, the quality of thoughts we cultivate manifest in behavior, manifest in interaction, manifest in our words, manifest in the way we view people. So the spiritual text, Bhagavad Gita, says, for those people who are cultivating good intention thoughts, compassion, empathy, humility, acting without pride, free of arrogance. For those people, the symptom, how do you recognize that this person is having those kind of thoughts? The Bhagavad Gita says their vision, when they look at the world, they see the true spiritual nature of all beings. They're not compartmentalizing that these people are good, these people are bad, these people are my friends, these people are my enemies, these people are useless, these people are okay. They see the true spiritual nature of all beings. This becomes the most clear symptom of somebody who's experiencing a very high, pure quality of thought. And so Krishna, who speaks in the Gita, he invites us to become that version of a person. He's inviting us all to become that version. And when we all aspire to become that version of a person, guess what happens? You share it with somebody. You naturally infect those people around you to have that quality of thought. And when you're experiencing that quality of thought, people will recognize that. And people will say, sorry, what's your name?
Nix.
Nix? People will say, hey, Nix, give me some of that. People will see it. The symptoms will be very obvious. And so good, well-intentioned thoughts can create that. But when we stay in touch with spiritual vibration, it surpasses all of those qualities and accelerates the highest expression of quality of thoughts when we can see everyone for their true spiritual nature. That okay?
Yes, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Do you mean like where when you say that you can see in everyone that the spiritual nature is so kind of like say that you can see spirituality in everything and everywhere?
Yeah.
Or that's like a different thing?
No, it's similar. So what I mean by that is I'm no longer discriminating. This is just a man, or this is just a white man, or this is just a brown man, or this is, a woman, or this is young, or this is old, or, this is people from this religion and I don't like them, or this is person from this religion and I like them. So we don't unnecessarily discriminate negatively about the appearance, ethnicity, religion, gender of people. Beyond all of that is the true spiritual nature of all beings. But we have to cultivate the right quality of thought and practice to arrive at that vision. That okay? Yes, sir.
This is a great orange, but would you say, in other words, that it's seeing unity in everything?
Yes. Yes. When we can see the true spiritual nature of all beings, that's truly unifying. And when we can then connect the unified vision of all of us to that supreme conscious source of all of us, and we say that's Krishna, job done.
Right. And I guess our mission is to spread that awareness of unity. And that's happening. That's happening in this room, and that's so exciting, so grateful to be a part of it.
And we want the world to be what we have in this room. We want that to be symbolic of what we want in the world.
I didn't hear that.
We'll wait for the train to go. I said what we have in this room is symbolic of what we want in the world. And then ultimately, the experience of all of that is pure love. When we can feel that true spiritual nature of one another, and that there's a connection with the supreme conscious being who is the source of everything, and that we have a loving connection with Krishna, which means we then have a loving connection with each other, that expression of love can be very infectious.
Right. And then it makes me think, and like I feel like my perspective on religion, I feel like it separates, you know. And I feel like the true unity and the true like way to be in that vibration, like unconditional love, is to if we look past the words and look past like the different, like, you know, like you said, the physical things, and I feel like everything is love. You know?
Well, this is, I mean, this thinking and this quality of thinking is way above religion. Is way above religion, and that's why we prefer to call it a theistic science. And a theistic science means anyone of any background, of any walk of life, can pick up the practice of this science, and they'll get the same result. Anyone can cultivate this high quality of thought. Anyone can cultivate this high spiritual vision, and everyone can experience this highest realm of pure love. It's available to everyone. We just have to understand the science, undertake the experiment, and just wait for the result.
Yes, yeah, that's good.
Good? Yes, sir.
Thank you for your class so much. I feel like just by being close to you, my thoughts are getting better.
Yeah.
Well, I'm flying out at 10.
So I was wondering what inspired you to respond to that call and endeavor in this, and assuming that you have a lot of years practicing, what's like one nugget that you can give somebody like me that's trying to take off a little bit and improve in the spiritual path early on?
Well, I'll have to come back for that one. I think the one thing that really inspires me is this idea that of spiritual equality. And the way in which the Bhagavad Gita describes it, I haven't seen that described in any other way, in any other text or tradition. You know, the point of that spiritual equality of all beings is central to its teaching, and it's essential for the practitioner to really catch that point as a foundational building block for the spirituality that we want to cultivate. Because it's impossible to cultivate that spiritual vision by, at the same time, having hate, having anger, having division. They're just opposed ideas. And it just won't work. You know, if we're on the path of pure love, then we have to shed anger, shed envy, shed hate. We just have to leave them. There's no room for that. So that I find very attractive. And the fact that it's a science, I find that very attractive, because it's not about ethnicity, you know, people of ethnicity or people of a particular religion or people of a particular culture. That's division. Whereas a theistic science is an all-encompassing, unifying umbrella that allows people of all backgrounds in the world to experience the same pure love that everybody's actually yearning for. Is that okay? Krishna.
I was curious. So we have thoughts that we don't choose, as one of the gentlemen was saying. They just come, you know, against our will. And with the mantra, we're transcending those thoughts and connecting to something higher. But what is it that generates those thoughts, and how does it change as we connect with the mantra and go deeper in our practice?
So let's just explore that point. By the way, just let me know when we need to pause. Okay. Let's just explore that point of thoughts just come beyond my will. Actually, they don't. Yeah. You may not have said, hey, thought over there, come over here. You didn't do that. But you make certain choices which creates those thoughts. So, for example, you make a choice. I want to walk down this street. I want to watch this program. I want to hang out with this group of people. So you making a choice of the quality of association and environment you want to be in. Now, as soon as you've made that choice, guess what? Corresponding thoughts are going to be coming to you. You know, that's what's going to happen. So we have to be careful as to where we place ourselves, because that environment is going to influence the thoughts that are going to appear in your mind. I mean, if I choose this evening to sit for the next 3 hours and watch horror movies, guess what I'm going to think when I go to bed? And if I'm lying in my bed and I say, I didn't ask for these thoughts, where did these thoughts come? I'd be really fooling myself. I mean, that's an extreme example. But, you know, walking down the street, so many, our senses are conduits. We're bringing in information. Our consciousness spreads through into our environment through our senses. You know, we're hearing, we're seeing, we're smelling, we're tasting, we're touching, and we have desire. And so that becomes a very complex mix. So it's not true that thoughts just come. It's because of the environment we put ourselves in, and the environment kind of influences us to think in a particular way that's defined by our disposition, that's defined by our likes and dislikes and so on. Past experience, you know, it's a very complex game that's being played in the mental space. And that's why having a spiritual connection with mantra creates an opportunity for clearing that and clarifying that. And the more we clear and clarify through the more mantra that we engage with, it doesn't mean that those silly thoughts or unwanted thoughts won't come. It'll be just easier to clear and clarify. Is that okay?
Just wanted to, this just came up in my mind, where we place our consciousness, that's where our experience will be. That's,
Very good. And that's a great conclusion for this evening. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Hare Krishna.
Let's thank Pradyumna with another big round of applause.
Hey, thank you. Thank you all.
We may fly you out again.
Hey!
So now we'll do a little bit of kirtan. And Shikar, would you like to play the drum? That's okay. Thank you so much. So we'll just do a little kirtan, and if you're just walking in, if you haven't heard, as Pradyumna was saying, that we're kind of fooling ourselves if we don't know where our thoughts are coming from. So if you kind of listen to this mantra and if you engage in it, guarantee best night of sleep you'll ever have. And we all need a good night of sleep, right? And you'll be very spiritually awakened. So wherever you're at, sit a little straighter. Breathe in. Breathe out. And then so if you haven't done kirtan before, we'll do, I'll chant this mantra once and you guys can repeat after me. Feel free to feel free to dance, feel free to move, feel free to clap, you know. And yeah, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone, one more time. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Everyone, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gaur Premanande. I promise you that'll be in your memory.